Hey everybody, Nendo12 here. Here with part 3 of the Disney special. Just watched Wreck-It Ralph, and before I start this video, I need to tell you that there will be spoilers. So yeah, just be aware of that. Wreck-It Ralph, as everybody probably already guessed from seeing the trailers, and even if you haven't seen any of the trailers or you haven't seen the movie yet, you probably still know what it's about, given that a lot of people have been talking about it lately. And I'm here to give my opinion of it. So it starts off with Wreck-It Ralph narrating pretty much what his life is, what he does every day for the past 30 years he's been doing it. And once that's over, we get to see what happens when the night comes around. When all the kids are gone from the arcade, and all these different characters from all these different games just come to life. They come to life and they have their own lives to attend to. And I think this is actually pretty clever. Nobody has ever actually done this before. Like, nobody has ever actually said, what if all these characters from video games were actually real? They had their own lives to deal with. And that when we're not looking, they're doing what they want to do. So, I think that's pretty clever. That was really interesting how they decided to do that. Yeah, so, let's see. Ralph, he just wants to attend a party. He just wants to attend the 30-year anniversary party of the game that he's from. And, yeah, so he goes there, but the other people from the game don't really give him a warm welcome. I mean, Fix-It Felix Jr., he seems to be okay with it. But the others just hate Ralph. Which this brings up the question, if video game characters were real, would they really continue to be enemies when nobody's looking? I mean, if they're going about their own lives, that doesn't mean they have to go by what the game makes them do. If they have their own lives, then they could actually be friends. When nobody's looking, they could be hanging out, playing a board game or something, when no one's looking. I mean, sure, when the game starts, they're rivals, but until then, they can be whoever they want to be. But the other people in his game don't really think that way. So he vows to get a medal, and one of the little people, tells him that if he ever gets a medal, then they would give him the penthouse at the top of the building. Man, I'm real tired today. But yeah, so, I mean, it's really rather confusing what happens next, but from what I saw, it seems like he goes to this game called Hero's Duty, and I guess that's supposed to be like I guess that's supposed to be like a mixture of Halo meets Call of Duty. I mean, that's what it seems like. It seems like it's a mixture of the two of them. Well, yeah, so, I mean, jeez. So he goes to Hero's Duty, he wins a medal, but then, these weird creatures, I guess they're supposed to be a virus, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get that. And I didn't quite understand that. How is it that these creatures in a game called Hero's Duty is actually a virus? How can that be? I mean, if it's a virus, wouldn't it mix the game up? I mean, if the video game is a virus, then wouldn't it be glitching up or something? Wouldn't something be happening to it? No. Because these guys that you're playing as go around and destroy the virus with guns that are supposed to destroy the enemy, which I guess the virus is the enemy. And I mean, really? This is like so... They're making this way more complicated than it needs to be. But then again, I shouldn't complain about that, given that you only see the game for like 5 minutes, and then that's it. On to the next game. So Ralph tries to get out of Hero's Duty, and he ends up flying a ship, I guess, into a game called Sugar Rush. And let's see. How do I explain that game? It's like Candyland if Candyland was a video game on crack. It just looks too good to be true. Everything is made of candy there. Everything. And I'm not talking about just the trees and I'm not talking about just like the trees and water or anything like that. No, everything, including the residents. The people there are made of candy. The vehicles that they drive in that game are made of candy. Just everything is candy. And, I need a drink. Okay. So it's like every kid's dream. An entire world made of candy. So, I thought that was really cool. That's like every kid's dream. So, any kid who goes to see this movie and sees that world will instantly be like, you know, you'll just be entranced. But yeah, so he crashes the ship on like a weird hill thing, I guess. I'm not even sure what that thing was that he landed on. But yeah, so he accidentally ended up pressing the ejector seats as he landed. So him and this, I guess, one of the virus bugs attached itself to him as they were flying. And so when he got ejected, it got thrown into this pit of caramel, I guess it is. I don't know what that's supposed to be. But yeah, so it sinks. He thinks it's gone, but of course, we all know it's gonna return. I mean, they need to keep it interesting. And those are the most interesting creatures in the movie. Mainly because nobody has any idea what the heck they are or where they came from. All they know is that they like to destroy things. So, Ralph meets up with this girl, this little girl, who says that she's always wanted to be in a race, and she's never been able to be in one of the races, mainly because she's a glitch, I guess. And, which, in my opinion, I find that really awesome. Because she's a glitch, so she could be, like, she could be, like, 10 feet away from me, and then, boom, split second, she's right next to me. I mean, that is awesome. That's teleportation. I mean, I guess I could understand why they didn't want to race, because, I mean, teleportation, you could just, like, teleport right next to the finish line. Okay, that was easy. Done. So, I mean, it'd be too easy for her to win. But that's only if she learns to control it, which, at the beginning, she doesn't know how to control it. So, he ends up helping her make a car, and then he trains her to race, so that he can get his medal back, which she stole earlier. Yeah, I probably should have mentioned that. But anyway, so yeah, so she stole his medal, threw it into the cup, so that she threw it into, like, the weird transporter cup, which I guess means that she can race, and in order to get it back, she has to win. So he's trying to help her win so that he can get his medal back. Yeah, so they end up doing this weird little scene where somehow the guy in charge of this world, he goes by the name of King Candy, he finds out where they've been hiding somehow. They never really explain how exactly he found their hideout. I guess they just leave that solution up to the viewers. And he makes a deal with Ralph. He tells him that he needs Ralph to destroy the cart that he made. And it's because he says he's trying to protect her. And yeah, I'm sorry, I just never really trusted that guy. And even, like, I knew he couldn't be trusted from the get-go. I mean, he seemed too whack. He seemed too wacko. And yeah, I didn't trust him. But then when I saw him say that he wanted to protect her, because if she wins, then she'll become a playable character, and people will see her glitch. People will see that she has a glitch, and then people won't like her because she has a glitch. People will complain about it to the owner of the arcade. The owner of the arcade will send in somebody to fix it, and when it can't be fixed, the plug on the game will be pulled. And if that happens, all the people in the game will have to evacuate and go, because their game is going to be destroyed. But because of the glitch, she won't be able to leave. Because she's the glitch, she won't be able to leave. She will be forced to stay there. So when the game gets destroyed, she'll die. And I'm thinking, sheesh, that's pretty dark. That's pretty dark. So if she wins, then ultimately she will die if she wins. And if she doesn't win, then she remains miserable for the rest of her life. That's dark. That's way too dark for Disney. I love it! I mean, Disney, this is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about in my last video. You need to do something new, something we haven't seen. And this is what you did for Wreck-It Ralph. Awesome. I don't say this for many Disney movies. Like, I like very few Disney movies. Even the ones I liked as a kid, I don't like anymore. Because I can find the flaws in pretty much every Disney movie. But Wreck-It Ralph, by far your best movie yet. But anyway, we gotta wrap this up. Okay, so he destroys the cart. She gets all sad. He gets back to his own game. The guy who promised him the penthouse gives him the keys, and he says, "Well, you're too late. The plug's being pulled tomorrow because you never came back." So he of course feels like a douche. So he goes back. He figures something out. He's like, "Oh crap. She's on the side. She's on the side of the game." He sees the Sugar Rush game console, and the little girl, whose name is now escaping, whose name like keeps escaping me for some reason. He sees how she's on the side of the console. So he goes, talks to King Candy, finds out that King Candy lied to him, and breaks Felix out of jail. Felix went to go look for him. You don't really see much of the search. I think you only see like 3 parts of the search. Yeah, you only see like Felix like 3 times before he gets captured. So, but yeah, so you don't see much of Felix. You actually see more of Sue Sylvester, and I know that's not her character in the movie, but that's what I'm calling her. But yeah, so he rescues Felix. He asks Felix to fix the cart that him and the little girl made earlier, that he destroyed. And Felix fixes it, and he has Vanellope. That's it, Vanellope. That's her name, Vanellope. He has Vanellope race in the race, and she's about to cross the finish line, but then the virus bug, it turns out it multiplied, and it's going to destroy the game. but Ralph gets an idea. Earlier when they were training, he accidentally knocked off a Mento in a cave that they were training in. It fell into a soda hot spring, I guess they called it, which caused a giant explosion. So he gets the idea to make every single Mento, pretty much the entire ceiling of the cave, collapse into the soda hot springs. So he does, and it also turns out that King Candy was Turbo, which he was a guy that they talked about a lot. Actually, not a lot. They only mentioned it once, and his Turbo scene was only like 5 seconds long, so I knew he was going to be the main villain. I mean, there's no other point to having something like that in the movie. It's the Scooby-Doo scenario. I mean, the story is only a few seconds long, and it has no other relevance to the plot, so that's the only point, just to make the guy a bad guy. Anyway, so he fights Turbo. He destroys the ceiling of Mentos. All of them fall down. Vanellope used her glitch ability, finally took control of it, and her racing skills to get Ralph out of there before the explosion happened. And yeah, the explosion caused a beacon, which drew the swarm of viruses to it like moth to a flame. And there's not really else much to it. The day's saved. Vanellope finally finishes the race. She finally figures out who she is, and everybody else remembers that, oh crap, Vanellope is our queen. We were total douches. And Ralph says goodbye, and then he has a little epilogue where he says the best part of his day is when he gets picked up and he's about to get thrown off the building, because he can see Vanellope having a good time, and that's what makes every day worth it. So I mean, there's a lot of like friendship and you sense like kind of like father and son type, father and daughter type thing going on between Vanellope and Ralph, and it's kind of a mixture of like best friends and father and daughter. I mean, it's really good. I mean, I really like how they did that. So that's Wreck-It Ralph. How does it fare up? Like I said before, best Disney movie yet. And actually, it's not even a month old, and already it's up there in my top 12 favorite movies. I just love this movie. It is, without a doubt, the best Disney movie yet, as well as, in my opinion, the best animated film ever made. I have seen so many animated films, I can't even count. None of them came close to impressing me as much as Wreck-It Ralph did. It is a masterpiece. And to any of you haters out there who don't like Wreck-It Ralph, I'm Nendo12. If you can name it, I can review it.